So the prices of sandwiches increased by 10%, while my salary is still fixed, constant. What will happen if I purchase sandwiches from Ahmed Jassim? I will be worse off. The purchasing power of my salary will be less. I can purchase less amount than before, but Ahmed Jassim will be better off. He will enjoy the increase in the prices because his profit will be better. So inflation changes the distribution of income. See here, what's the idea? Assume our aggregate income is a piece of cake. Assume our aggregate income, aggregate output is a piece of cake. So during inflation, this piece of cake will be redistributed among people. Owners of businesses, landlords of real properties will take larger part of the cake, while employees who received salaries or wages will receive a smaller part of the cake. So the distribution of income in the whole economy will be worse off. Poor people will be poorer, rich people will be richer. So this is not good. Okay, so inflation also, in the second point, affects debtors and the creditors. So assume Ahmed Jassim is a creditor who lends me 100 dirhams. I am a debtor. I borrow 100 dirhams from Mr. Ahmed Jassim. During high unexpected inflation, Ahmed Jassim will be worse off, while I will be better off. Why? See here. Assume I borrow 100 dirham from Ahmed Jassim. The interest rate is 10%. Suddenly, there is an inflation of 15%. So when I return the money back to Ahmed Jassim, I will return 110. The purchasing power of money decreased by 15% because the prices increased by 15%. So in reality, he received as real value as 95. He lends me 100, but he received 95. Why? Because there is an inflation of 15%. So let's use...
This one happened in 2008, huh?
Let's use, I will come back to you. Let's use this term, real interest rate. What is real interest rate? The difference between the interest rate on a loan and the inflation rate. So in this example, what is the real interest rate? The interest rate is 10%, while the inflation is 15%. So the real interest rate is -5. So Mr. Ahmed Jassim lended me 100 dirhams with interest rate of 10%. Because of high inflation of 15%, the real interest rate becomes -5. So during high unexpected inflation, banks and people don't tend to lend money to businesses, so that later will drop down the investment. So that means inflation will push the economy into recession later. So the phase of expansion, the phase of inflation will damage the economy, will damage some individuals, but will push the economy later into recession. So the inflation has some administrative costs because businesses have to sit again and recalculate the cost because the prices of intermediate goods increased, they have to increase their finished goods. That will harm the efficiency. So investors will not invest in long-term investment, such as education and industries. They prefer to invest in trading, to export and import, so they can return back their money quickly, because they don't have clear view about the future. So it will harm the efficiency of the investment in the whole economy. See the second point. The opportunity cost of holding cash is high during inflation. So let me give you an example. During 1990s, there was hyperinflation in Iraq, and I remember this case. So if I have 2,000 Iraqi dinar in my hand, I prefer to purchase anything, such as, let's say, 5 kilos of rice, than holding cash. Why? Because after 1 week, after 1 month, the prices of rice and other goods will increase. 2,000 Iraqi dinar will worth less. So in this case, people don't tend to hold cash, and they visit the bank more frequently. So that will make our economy inefficient. So it will destroy the economy. It will destroy the economy. So since there is inflation, there is an increase in the prices, investors don't know about the future. So it will lead to misallocation of resources. سوء تخصيص الموارد. Investors don't like to invest in long-run investment, such as education and industries, because they don't have what will happen in the future. So they prefer to spend their money in trading, export and imports. So that will make our investment inefficient. So high and expected inflation will increase the risk, because investors cannot make decisions on cloudy view about the future. So later it will slow down the economic growth rate. It will push the economy into recession. And finally, the inflation becomes the enemy number one, the public enemy number one. So the government will allocate time and resources and efforts to eliminate the inflation, and it will injure the economy. Instead of, we need our government to think about technological progress, about building infrastructure, not to fighting a fire such as inflation. Okay, so now we have some discussion questions. These discussion questions are important to the coming exams. So I always say, don't copy paste during the exam. So here there is a question and answer. So in the coming exam, don't copy paste. Try, number one, to rephrase the text, to reproduce it in your own English. Enhance your question with examples, as I explained now. So what is this question? Evaluate some of the costs associated with inflation, which I explained right now. So for example, I gave examples. So the economy, the inflation pushed the UAE economy into recession later. This is what we experienced after 2008. And if you remember, during inflation, some people got high loans to buy apartments. And later, we discovered they couldn't return the installments and they went to the prison or they lost their money. So I explained these topics just to show you this question. See here this question. Let me ask Saleh. Muhammad Adnan.
Yes, doctor.
Read this question in blue.
The inflation rate measured by change in the consumer's price index is 5%. Does that mean that every individual cost of living has increased by 5%? Explain.
Okay, so assume the inflation rate is 5%. Doesn't mean the individual's cost of living has increased, the cost of living has increased by 5% for everyone? The answer is not necessarily. Why? It depends on goods consumed by everyone. It depends on consumed. When I say inflation rate is 5%, that means some goods increased by more than 5%, other goods increased by less than 5%. Assume I'm in a case and I go to purchase goods increased by less 5%. So please mute your mic. Mute your mic. So if I purchase items which their prices increased by less 5%, so the cost of my living will not increase by 5% or more. Other people who purchase, for example, luxurious goods, which increase by more than 5%, their cost of living will increase by even more than 5%. But averagely, by most people, their cost of living increased by 5%, averagely most people. I can say the cost of living, some people such as owners, landlords, who enjoy receiving the increase in the prices. So the cost of living will not increase by 5%. Definitely it will increase by definitely less than 5%. So they will enjoy the benefit. This question, let me go to Reem. Are you Reem Khamis?
Yes, doctor.
So you are Reem Khamis, right?
Yes.
Okay. Could you read this question?
Assuming that the UAE economy ends up facing deflation after this coronavirus crisis, discuss why deflation could be a serious problem for the economy, what the UAE government could do in order to fight it.
Okay, so see here, this question, there is no, I didn't write the answer. So I will explain the answer. What you should do, you should write notes about my explanation. Or later, you should search the internet, or you should watch this video again. I don't know whether, I'm afraid I didn't record the session.
It's recorded, doctor.
Yeah, good.
Doctor?
Yes.
If you don't mind, can you tell me on which number of slide you are?
I'm in the slide number 20.
For me, it's showing only 13.
So it is Saleh, Muhammad Adnan, can you see the number of the slide?
Yes, it's 20, doctor.
20. So everyone see 20. Okay. So let's see here. Deflation means a decrease in the overall price level. Some people will feel happy because there is a decrease in the prices of goods and services, but it is a serious problem. Don't feel happy. There is a general decrease. I'm not talking about a decrease in the prices of a single product or a group of products. This is macroeconomic phenomena. Prices of most goods and services tends to decrease. It is a serious problem. Why? Because it means there is a huge lack of aggregate demand, and business sector is going to cut their production and to fire more people. The economy will go into severe, painful recession. See here, when the overall price level tends to decrease, which is called deflation, investors will feel worried about the future. They will not set up new businesses because when they calculate, the new businesses will not be profitable. See here, for example, there is a decrease in the level of rents of apartments. So if I'm investors in real properties, I will say it is not a time to build a new towers because I cannot return back my investment. I cannot return back my loans. So I will postpone my decision till the situation become better. So that means deflation will push the economy into more recession, severe, painful recession. Also, I'm a customer. When I see general deflation, general drop in the level of overall price level, my confidence, which is called consumer confidence about the market, will be less. So I will feel afraid about the future. I will expect I will lose my job because there is a decrease in the prices in general in the whole country. So consumer confidence will be less. So I will not spend money. So investment will decrease, consumption will decrease. Both of them consist of aggregate demand. Okay, what should the government do? So now we have deflation, which is an indicator of strong recession. The government should implement fiscal and monetary policies to stimulate the level of economic activities by increasing aggregate demand. How? By fiscal policy, by increasing government expenditure and or decreasing taxes. By monetary policies, which I kept it in chapter 9, by increasing the quantity of money supplied or increase the liquidity by using 3 tools. I will not give more explanation about these tools. So this is a short summary about this question.